Hello and welcome to Connect, the weekly podcast for the California MBA featuring one-on-one interviews with movers and shakers in the mortgage industry. I'm Susan Milazzo, CEO of the California MBA. I'm happy that you could join us today. Before I welcome today's guests, I'd like to thank our 2024 President's Council sponsors. These are companies that provide a tremendous amount of financial support for our organization, in large part so that we can continue to be that strong voice for the real estate finance industry before the California State Legislature, our regulators, and this year also the Department of Insurance Commissioner, because that's a big initiative you might have heard that we've launched this year too. So please join me in thanking this year's President's Council sponsors, and those companies are AmeriHome, Arch MI, CMG Financial, Consolidated Analytics, Funding Shield, Guild Mortgage, and Western Alliance Bank. Thank you all so much for your support. We really, really appreciate it. And with that, it brings me to today's guest, very special person I've had the pleasure of knowing for a few years now. I am happy to welcome Tai Christensen, President of Arrive Home. Tai, welcome to Connect.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
When we were setting this up, I'm like, how is it that she's not been on this already? I feel like that's when we talk a lot. So I know maybe that's where I was getting crossed up. So my negligence for not inviting you to be on sooner, but I'm happy that you could be here today. I always like to get started finding out how people come into the mortgage industry. So why don't you give us the story of how you made it to this business?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've told this story before. So for your listeners that have heard it before, I'm going to apologize in advance. But my entry into the mortgage industry was from a very unlikely source. I actually went to college for interior design. And then shortly after college, I got married and had a child very quickly after, wasn't planning on it, and really was looking for something that wasn't so consumer focused, where I would have to meet with clients on a regular basis. And unlikely source number one, my husband's ex-wife had been in the mortgage industry for about 10 years at that point. He's 10 years older than me. And she called one day to make some arrangements for my stepkids. And she heard my oldest daughter crying in the background. She's like, "What are you doing for work now, by the way?" And I said, "I don't really know. I'm kind of in this weird spot. I'm not really sure what to do." And she said, "Have you ever thought about the mortgage industry? Your brain kind of works like an underwriter, the way you take information in and kind of decompose it right away." And I said, "No, I've never heard about, the mortgage industry." I was young at the time. I was 22. And she's like, "You should look into it." And so I did. I went to a school online back in 2003. So this was like, crazy that I was going to school online. Now it's commonplace, right?
Right.
It's called Mortgage Technical Institute, and went to their courses for 6 months and then got my degree, my certification through them. And I started contract loan processing for a few brokerages in Salt Lake City where I lived. And so I was able to work remotely. Now, this is back in the day, right? So I'm like driving to Salt Lake to pick up stacked files of paperwork and documents, et cetera, bringing them home. But that's how I got my start. It was my husband's ex-wife. And interestingly enough, we have worked at multiple companies together, and she is the lead underwriter for Arrive Home right now.
That is a great story. And I have not heard that story. So thank you for sharing that. That is hilarious. I know, isn't it funny to think back like how we worked? And it doesn't even seem like it was that long ago. Yeah, it's been 20 years ago, but it's like, it just in my life, it doesn't seem like it's been that long ago, but how so much technology has changed, right?
Some things never change, which is my legal yellow notepad, which I insist on writing all of my notation on. So I know there's stickies and computer mabobbies, but nothing beats a pen and paper for me. I still hand do all the calculations when I need to. And, I don't rely on technology as much in that facet. So some things never change.
I still have that, my handwritten to-do list that I take from, wherever I'm working or whatever. I know the things that we do. So congratulations on moving to the role of president of Arrive Home this year. It was amazing news. What are some of the top priorities for the company and for the balance of 2024?
Well, thank you. First of all, it was very exciting. There are not very many female presidents in the mortgage industry, so I was very honored to be offered the role, and I take it very seriously. You know, I like to see women advancing in the C-suite positions in this industry specifically because I feel like we bring a unique perspective and outside of just data-driven perspective when you look at a file. I think that there's a little bit more empathy and compassion at times that we ladies have, and I love to see that being implemented in this industry. But at Arrive, as you know, we're a national down payment assistance provider and an affordable housing program, and we focus on assisting marginalized communities and low to moderate income borrowers receive down payments so they can get into a home. And so we partnered with a lot of different real estate professional groups. Our number one partnership is with NAHREP. So we've really been leaning into our partnership with NAHREP. That's the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. Let's stick with the acronym because it's a lot of work. But yeah, we partnered really heavily with NAHREP because we're looking to expand homeownership specifically in the minority communities in our country, a lot of which are locked out of homeownership just based on a lack of education. And when I say a lack of education, I don't necessarily mean that people don't know that buying a home would be the number one vehicle to them making and creating generational wealth, but moreover, programs that are there to assist low to moderate income individuals that don't have down payment resources that they can ask family and friends from for a gift for their down payment, educating them that these programs are out there, educating them that there are closing cost programs out there as well that can assist you into getting a home, and you do not have to burn through all your savings to just get into the house. Because when you do that, the first unexpected expense that you have, you no longer have savings and reserves for, and it turns all unexpected expenses into a crisis situation. So we really focus on bringing the message of sustainable assistance to the demographics that need to hear it most. And that's a lot of people now. You know, when I first started in the affordable housing space, I've been in affordable housing now for 7 years. It was basically people that couldn't get gifts from grandparents, parents, aunts and uncles that just didn't have that ability to say, hey, you know, here's $15,000 as a wedding gift. Here's $20,000 as a down payment on a home. We want you guys to start out strong. These down payment amounts are pretty high now. I mean, you have to remember the average home price in America is $400,000. So we're talking about a larger sum of money than people are used to giving their children for a gifted down payment. So the demographic of borrowers that we are assisting has really changed over the last 3 years to where it's not just people that do not come from generational home ownership. Now it's people that are like, okay, I got 10 grand from my mom and dad, but I still need another 15, you know? And so it's been really interesting to kind of see the change and the shift in the demographics that need assistance. And we are really excited to be able to provide our product to everyone who's in need.
That's fantastic. What it's a great company. You know, in a state like California, you know, down payment assistance is crucial. There's such a high cost state. It's helping, you know, people achieve the dream of the American dream of home ownership. But do you find that there's still a lack of understanding of like all of the programs that are available out there?
Absolutely. So I'm always shocked when I talk to buyers or would-be buyers and ask them, you know, what do you know about the home buying process? What do you know about down payment assistance? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, not much, right? I just don't know. And I think it's important, specifically in a state like California, very high cost markets, very high valuations of homes, right? That locks a lot of communities out of home ownership. And so we're seeing kind of a new trend now where people are pooling together their resources, and multi-generational homes are becoming very popular in California, where you've got aunt and uncle living with a niece and nephew, all buying the home together and pitching in to not just make the house payment, but also provide childcare, right? So people are working in the evenings, aunt and uncles are watching the kids while parents are at work, vice versa, you know, grandparents moving into the home. ADU properties are extremely popular right now. Fully finished basements, apartments, very popular right now. Buying these homes that have these offerings obviously come at a higher cost. And so people are pooling together familial resources and living in multi-generational homes. And this has never really been a trend in America until just recently, right? We've kind of always prided ourselves on single family McMansions. that has brought a lot of stress to the American family because we don't have familial community to assist with childcare, to assist with maintaining the property, to assist with really just running the home in general. You look at a lot of European nations, and it's very common, even the Latino community, very common to have grandma, grandpa, tia, uncle. Everybody lives together, and they all pool their resources and help with raising the children. And so I think it's really great that we're seeing this shift in the American pattern of living. And it's bringing a lot of peace to people that have been previously stressed out by paying for childcare, paying for rent, trying to make sure that they're making enough money to just cover the basis. When you bring in mom and dad, or you bring in your cousins, or maybe your best friend, and you guys all pool your resources together, it's able to provide a much more cohesive and peaceful family environment.
That's fantastic. Great observations. I hadn't thought about that. We get the multiple generations, and the older family members can help with the younger family, take care of, their kids and whatnot. Great. I found the same. It's like making sure that, my lender members, I'll ask them sometimes, do you think all of your loan officers know about all the down payment assistance programs out there? I know that they do try to make sure that information is widely available, but great that there are programs like Arrive Home to help people achieve the American dream. Tai, thank you you're part of our leadership in the California MBA. You are chair of the California MBA's DE&I Committee. We are very grateful for your leadership and the fresh ideas that you bring to that committee. We're moving to, of course, on-demand content, so that we're hoping to expand our viewership, because we've got some fantastic speakers that come onto our presentations. What can you share with our listeners about the information that we provide through the DE&I Committee?
Well, I'm so glad that we have started to make the shift to more of a on-demand webinar format as opposed to a timestamp one. The timestamp webinar format, especially in this day and age where so many of us are working remotely or hybrid, it really locks you into a time commitment. And while your intentions are good, you want to attend this specific webinar or discussion, fireside chat, whatever it may be, you might get something placed on your calendar that you were not anticipating, and now you can no longer make that. And so having on-demand content really allows you not only to view it or listen to it whenever is convenient for you, but it also allows you to run the tape back, so to speak, where you can say, oh, wait, what did she just say there? Rewind it a little bit, make a note so that you can review it later on if you need to, or take a screenshot, or go to a website and pause it, and then do some research and then come back. Or listen to it in the car when you're driving to work or driving to pick up your kids. That's where I usually listen to most of my webinars, is while I'm driving. And so having that flexibility to be able to listen to it when it's convenient for you and when you're paying attention and not multitasking, which we all do all the time, really will bring a level of clarity to the information that's being disseminated, and retention as well.
I think it's going to be great, and thank you again for serving a leadership position in that committee. We're grateful to have you on board. So Arrive Home, of course, is a member of the California MBA. You were just shared our chair of one of our major committees, and we're very grateful for your participation. Can you share with our listeners why you choose to support the California MBA?
Well, we have a lot of different memberships, and I serve on a lot of different committees. But the California MBA is very near and dear to my heart, because you guys are so committed to making sure that your messages get out to the masses. And a lot of different committees I'm on, teams I'm on, we are not able to efficiently disseminate the information to the groups that need it outside of an email or a newsletter blast, right? But between your podcasts that you guys have with the California MBA, the webinars, the networking events you guys put on, you really, really try and reach out and touch the community members, disseminate the information in a way that the masses can receive it. And it's a very beneficial partnership for Arrive.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you being part of our organization. And speaking of networking, please join us on June 27th for our DE&I networking event in Newport Beach, hosted by Wright Finley and Zach. You can register for that on our website, cmba.com.
Yes.
So thank you, Tai, for being on Connect. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
I will see you soon at some of our events. And thanks to all of you for joining us today. To access any of our past episodes, you can follow us on our YouTube channel. We're also available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. That's it for this week, and we'll see you next time on Connect.
Here we go.